Hello, everybody. Welcome. Let's see, let's get this centered. Welcome to a new live stream. Yay. Happy Saturday. It's January 11th, 2019. We have some fun stuff to play with today. Let me get this closer. It's sounding far away. Let's see. Where can I get? Oh, there you are. There. Cool. So cool. My gosh. So I'm playing 3 different Unify right now. Unify. And I actually have it. Let's see. Why isn't it going that? You're supposed to be changing the volume. Anyway, I'm this is 3 Unify playing single notes, and all the rhythmic stuff and everything you're hearing, the melodies, are actually being made by MIDI Effects. Hey, welcome. Good to see you guys. Welcome all. I see Rob, Damon from San Luis Obispo. Right on, Bill. Bill, you made it. David's here. That's where I went to school. Cool, Steve. All right, so let's see here. Okay, so the voice I have, let's see, I got a mess going on here. I'm gonna move this over here. And let's get something going on. Check this out. This will pique a lot of interest. We're gonna be looking at MIDI effects. There's a number of MIDI effects that are included with Unify. Boy, it sounds so live in here today. Oh, I got my microphone. I got my speakers on some. That's why. There. I had my speakers on. And so it was doing a feedback thing. I was like, wow, I'm hearing some sort of like, my room's not that live today. I know the room, it's not totally isolated and dry. Now, when I save this, I need to go over here, make sure I'm in manual, start, stop, and let's go like this. So that way I can... Let's see here. Let's turn this up a little bit. There you are. He wouldn't come up earlier, silly guy. There we are. Good Lord. This is all coming from one Unify using 2 Cthulhu and a blue ARP. And I'm actually just playing single notes. Let's see. So we're going to look at how I did that. I have some other things that will completely blow your minds away with Unify. This is one of those things where there is like a lifetime of learning with what we can do in here. And we're going to keep adding things to this that will keep expanding it. And Shane is already going crazy with tech support. I like the single note playing. Now, this is funny because Deadmau5 in a masterclass he did, this is the death of EDM. It's like, no, it's not. It makes it easy for a lot of people to enjoy doing this kind of stuff. It can be really creative and it can open up doors for you to do other things. Not everybody's a chord master. Not everybody's going to do the rhythmic thing to sound current or whatever. It's a helper. There's no doubt this is helping. It's not the death of EDM is streaming music. That's the death of music if you want to get it to like real brass tacks. So I don't know if you guys know this. The guy that made Serum, Steven Duda. Before Serum came out, he's made a number of other, I would consider them fairly monumental to our industry applications. And this is clear off the screen, silly me. One of them being LFO Tool, of course, helping everybody everywhere have that nice side chaining effect. But the other one that he brought out is Cthulhu. And Cthulhu is a complete mind-blowing plugin for $39 at the extrarecords.com website. The name that cannot be pronounced is Cthulhu. And so we're going to look at this. We're also going to look at similar alternatives that we have inside of Unify that aren't quite as refined and aren't quite as, oh, my dog must be the mailman is here. But let's do this. I'm going to go over here. Let's see. Make this a little bit not quite so wide. This is a really good starting patch because it shows off a couple things really quickly. There's a patch that we actually made it in a live stream. Mouse pluck starter. So everybody turn in your hymnals to synth mouse pluck starter. Oh, and I also should give a plug because I'm not really good at this stuff. Oh, I still have the Christmas banner sale. Thank you, Nico. I've been a little busy, bro. Oh my gosh. Hey, I want to thank, let's see, where do we start? Shane, where do we start? Last night we passed 700 sales of Unify. And I sincerely thank all of you guys that have jumped on this bandwagon with both feet diving in the water. Thank you. It means an awful lot to see this kind of excitement and support. Also on the, wow, my website's like not even the graphics are popping up. Here's the page for Unify. If you go to pluginguru.com, there it is. You can see the link here. You can click this link that will take you to the Unify page. And I want to thank, there's now 39 reviews, 2 4-stars and 37 5-star reviews. And it's really enjoyable to read the reviews. You guys, thank you. I mean, we've worked over a year on this. I mean, Shane's worked longer than that because he did this, the engine and some other components that are part of Unify in the last year and a half or two. Let's make it 1,000. Yes, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. Let's go. So thank you for the comments. I appreciate the patience. I have a whole lot of email to reply to. I have been staying up until 3 and 4 in the morning replying to tech email myself because there's nobody else here to do it but me. And so thank you for your patience. I sincerely appreciate that. I'm trying to get to everybody. Let me check something. Shane was supposed to do something before we got to this live stream, and let me see if he made it. No, we didn't make it. Okay. We're going to have a version 1.0.3 up soon, I hope, of Unify for the Mac. For all you guys having some technical support problems, we're going to have a new version with it's a serial because for some people uploading 1.02, if you'd already, we did a couple updates and replaced 1.02. So sometimes things don't get updated because it's not a different version number. So we're going to have a different version number. We had a boo-boo Friday morning where we had Shane was working on Catalina support, which we now have Catalina support. It will install on Catalina. We have a couple of people with a couple of things they're reporting to us that we're going to be fine-tuning, but it seems to be working. It's working on my MacBook Pro right now. We got it installed. Yeah, I could come over here and power up and my MacBook Pro playing Catalina and open this up. And here's Unify. Working on it. I've owned many MacBook Pros. I've owned MacBook Pros since the first one, when they were as big as a toaster. Very big, very gray, had a trackball in the middle instead of a trackpad. We had one of those actually back in the day. And so this is the best MacBook Pro experience I've ever experienced working with, and it's really nice and it's powerful. The fan I have, where is it? Where are you at? Are you here? Somewhere around here, I have my other MacBook Pro. It's a 13-inch, like 2013. And after it's ran a video for about 15 seconds, the fan goes, and it's so noisy. It's just so hard to enjoy anything. And this, the fan is just, you barely hear it. It does. I've been pushing it a little bit, doing different things, and it's just totally fine. If something's wrong in this can, try and dry. Oh, that's one thing we want to talk about. Hey, Bernie, good to see you, my friend. Hey, so for those of you with scanner problems, we apologize for that. The scanner, we inherited this code from our dearly beloved Juice, which is the working environment that Shane used to build Unify. Their plugin scanner is kind of like this thing that everybody uses. And if you've done, their plugin scanning is not, most things are going to give you issues, it seems. So I want to show you one thing that you can do that is really nice. So let's see, let's go over here and say Mac open. Sorry to get a little side brain, but I want to cover some tech things really quick because a lot of you are having a few odds and end questions and stuff. If you go to, here we are on our computer, right? If you go to library, this is on Mac HD. I show in the video because this is so important and Apple is so good at hiding this. How to get your actual icon of your computer to show up on your desktop. Back in the day, it used to be you had all your icons. I've got 3 other hard drives here I've got like 4 or 8 terabytes online of data, right? Well, if you go over here to where it says Finder and you go to Preferences, you can go to General and you can say Show Hard Drives. And it will show you your hard drives if they're not showing up. So do that. Then you get to Macintosh HD. When you open this, go to Library, Audio, and Plugins. This is where plugins live on your computer. They have to live here or else they don't work. And Components is where you find audio units. And then down here is you find VST and VST3. So at the moment, I think I've only scanned VST into here, right? So if I go to Roland Cloud. Oh, I have all the Roland ones. Let's do this. Let's say I'm going to go over here to my plugins. And just for fun, I'm going to say remove all VST3 plugins. So now when I close this and I go back to this list, the Roland plugins have disappeared. Roland Cloud, you only see Concerto and Sound Canvas because they're VST. Well, inside of the plugins folder, I have VST. And it just so happens if I scroll down here to Roland, here's all the VST3 versions of the Roland Cloud. So if you go over here, if you're having problems with scanning, if it's freezing, and for some people, we made it a separate app so that it doesn't crash Unify, it doesn't crash your sequencer, but for some reason it is getting caught on certain plugins, it will crash. It goes back to the beginning. It does a quick scan through all those that it's already scanned, and it gets back to that same plugin. We have a system in place where it's supposed to blacklist that plugin that's crashed, and then it will continue on because it's on the blacklist. It knows to skip it. Well, it's not skipping it. And so we're sorry. We're trying to figure out. It's not doing that for anybody here. So it's kind of a weird situation. But if you go to Unify, standalone or plugin, I'm in the plugin version, audio unit version in Logic Pro X. I can hit plugins. I can go to my VST3 folder. I'm going to grab all of these, drag them right here, and let go. and you'll see a spinning ball, and then it takes it a second. It's scanning 15 VST3 plugins into the audio unit plugin of Unify. That's what's so cool with this, is we kind of are able, through some magic that Shane has up his sleeves, make it so that it doesn't matter what plugin it is, format-wise. We're looking at the content underneath. And so just like that, I can, oh, it's not quite done here in Unify. So you let it do its thing. You see it got updated. Now I can say, let's let it knit for a second just so I can show you this. I can say, go to down here to Roland, and all of those showed up. I can say D50, and boom. They're there. So I'm playing VST3 plugins inside of the audio unit plugin inside of Logic Pro X. Logic Pro X, there's no way to scan VST plugins into Logic Pro X, but because of Unify, I am using the D50 as a VST3 plugin, right? So that is the way to get plugin. If you're having problems with the scanner, just take your favorite plugins, go to the folder that matches whether you want it to be VST3 or VST. A number of people have asked me what format to use. You can use any format you want. I don't suggest using all three formats because you're just going to end up with, we're actually going to be working on a really cool system where you can scan all your plugins and you'll say what plugin format you want to be your primary format for your plugins. But if I don't have that format, then load it, but tell me in parentheses what it is. So like for me, it's VST. So I would want it so that when I go to this list and I see these guys in the future with an update we're going to do, when we got the NAMM show next week, so we're not going to be able to do updates till we get back from the NAMM show. But these will all say VST3 at the end so that I know that they're not VST. Because I install VST because that way I can make patches. I could take this patch, like if I go over here, I made this thing right here called Limitless. And this is the one that's calling up 2 Cthulhu, Blue Arp. I could save this. I could put it onto my Dropbox. I could put a link into this chat. You guys could all download this because I'm using VST plugins. It doesn't matter if you're on a PC or a Mac. If you're on the Mac and you don't plan to like share patches with other people, it's just for your own personal use and stuff, you can use audio units or VST3. There's same CPU requirements for all of them. There's not any difference there. There's new enhancements supposedly for audio units and for VST3, but that's more as far as to its capability. I don't know. I'm using VST at this point because that way I know I have compatibility with all of you guys, which is my priority. But if you're not doing something that's going to maybe be, it'll be interesting. We're going to do in the future some like patch weekends and do patches for a week using this combination of synths. What do you come up with? So we can put them together and share all of our patches because that's what Guru Nation has done in the past. We're going to continue to do that with Unify, but even cooler. But that'll be interesting because you have to scan VST plugins because we'll need to have people, when they send patches, they'll have to be built with VST versions so that everybody can enjoy them. Otherwise they don't convert. It's just a mess. So dragging to this plugin page, your favorite plugins will bypass the scanner. Do that if the scanner is kind of wearing you out, because I'm sorry for that. I wish we wrote the code, because Shane is really quite the monster at code when it comes to fixing things that he knows what's going on. It's just, this is one of those things we don't really understand what's going on because it's not our code. So we're working to get there. Let's see here. Yes. Yeah. Cool. Do it manually once, then save it. VST first choice, VST second choice. Okay. Yeah. But again, we're gonna have some some ways of defining what is your primary plugin format and stuff like that. Here's a question from Pad King. I wonder what Skip thinks about the Korg wave state. I love the Korg wave state. Woo! Korg last year hired me both to provide samples as well as make patches for wave state. And so I worked for about 6 months on wave state. And you guys are gonna, it's a deep ocean. Wave sequencing, they're not calling it wave sequencing 2.0, I don't think, but they should, because Dan Phillips and the team at Korg R&D, they basically, if you're familiar with our Karma technology, which is like sequencing on steroids, they looked at that and kind of applied a similar approach to wave sequencing. The wave sequences, what samples are used, the timing, the duration, the dynamics, and 2 controller sources are all separate lanes. So when you see all these YouTube videos of people playing the wave state and they show all those little dots on the screen, each of those is a lane for a certain parameter of a wave sequence. And they can be separate, they can be different lengths, they can be modulated by different sources. So you can have an LFO changing just the duration values of a wave sequence while something else is playing the timing values straight. It's really cool. It's one of those things where I would love that synth to be in a much bigger interface with a really big display. It really deserves that. But in 2020, it would not sell. It just would not sell. So they made the very smart choice of condensing it and trying to put an interface with a lot of knobs and a lot of controls. So you have, you can program with it, but it's not the same as if it would have been with a big screen and everything like that. But it's 2020. People don't want to spend $2,500 like they did 20 years ago on the Wave Station. It's $2,500. People won't pay a fraction of that. So they did the smart thing of condensing it into a smaller footprint so it can sit in a little space in your studio, on its side, whatever, and give you all these really, really cool rhythmic things to play with. We can do similar things in Unify, and we'll be able to do other things like that in the future. The other thing that's kind of cool is that samples inside of Unify are inside of wave state. So when you get your wave state to play with and you go into the samples, a lot of the samples are, they were very kind, and there's a folder that says Plugin Guru and Mega Magic Pads, Battleborn. Is there. They have other sounds, Pastoral Warmth and piano and all sorts of things. The other cool thing with the wave state is that John Bowen was the original maker of all those samples that are inside the wave station. He worked on wave state. Peter Schwartz, who did Will I Dream and Ski Jam, he worked on the wave state. It's cool I have this cool drone playing at the same time. And John Lemcool, who also worked on the wave station, also worked on wave state. So 3 of us from the wave station team worked on the wave state, which is really cool. Plus a couple other people. Laurent Verones, I was able to recommend Laurent to them, and he did that. I think he did, him or Peter, one of them did that big kind of like mayhem patch that everybody's playing for their demo and all the YouTube videos. It's a very cool synth. It's very deep. It's 4 oscillators, 64 voices, stereo, and it's got a lot. You'll be reading the manual and having a good time. There's a lot of patches. It's very cool. It's very cool. So I'm proud to have been a part of that. Can't seem to find it. Okay, so I put up a free bonus for you guys in the mail last night, and we'll take a look at this, and then we're gonna get into the, oh, that's nice. Go over here to, I put that here. I'm gonna put it into chat so you guys can download this if you want. Here's the link. I'm gonna put it into chat right now. Thank you. I'm gonna turn off my notifications It's one of those things. Your computer gives you all this information, and when you're in a live stream, you might not want that information to be shared. This is 4,400 single cycle waveforms that show up inside of Guru Sampler, inside of the user library. You now have all of these folders. It's not as organized as I would like to be. I would suggest this. If you do this, I didn't realize it kind of was quite like this, but we should do this. You would go over here to Unify. It's not that hard to do this. Check this out. So you can go to Unify, Libraries. There's the user library. Okay, so let's do it this way. So you download that file. Let's go through the whole process together. Please show up there. Okay, so do I have that here? No, I don't. I'll have it over here. So I'm going to drag this over here. It shows up as a .guru file. I'm going to tell you a trick with the Guru files. We've programmed Unify so that if we use .guru, you can drag it over here and it knows that that's something that it can auto install. I'm going to say cancel because I've already installed it. The other thing you should know is that it's a zip file. So that if I take this .guru and I rename this .zip, it's going to say, wait, it was a .guru. Are you sure you want to use zip? And you say use zip. I can now double click and unzip it. It's very genius on Chain's part. We have our own .guru file, but it's just a zip file with the instructions of where to put it to make life easier for you. But I am making it life so it's not so easy because I want to show you what this does. So it makes this thing called user library. Don't replace the user library folder with this. It's supposed to put this into the user library, which is why it's doing it this way, right? But I'm going to take it a little bit different. So what you would do is you go libraries, user library, and then samples, and it shows up all 66 of them. So I'm going to say new folder, and this is Adventure Kid Wave tables, right? And select all and drag those into here. And there's one thing at the bottom I saw that I don't think we need the clean, don't need that. So that means that these are now in a folder inside of the samples folder of the user library. So it goes user library, samples, and then when you first install it, it installs all 66 to look like this, or 65 or whatever it is. I put them into a folder. You can name the folder whatever you want. If we use these for voicing in the future, which is a possibility, we would make it into something that goes into the standard library or into a separate location. So you can organize these, delete them, edit, choose the ones you want, do whatever you want with these. I won't use these the way they are for official voicing, but this puts all of those samples. So now let's see, let's have Guru Sampler go away. So I'm going to choose PG8X. Thank you. And let's go back to Guru Sampler. Now, when I go to the user library, I can choose an actual directory. And now I have the list of all of those samples here. Right? Oh. No, that's not going to work either. Don't do that. Ah, I see why we did it that way. Don't do this. I'm doing this for the first time and realizing this is not the right way to do it because it put all the samples together. We don't have maps to call them up. So never mind. Sorry. Don't do that. That'd be a mess because it's just going to show a streaming list for thousands and thousands of samples. So do this, okay? I'm learning as I go with this stuff. I'm not going to hide and say this is the first time. I did it last night and it worked, but I was like, that's why it might be one of the things you want to clean up. But it's a way to get a ton of cool waveforms. So go here, go to the samples and just replace that with this, replace. That way they show up this way because you want them at least directorized some way. So let's go like this and then say user sample, and go here to the user library. This way they're selected by folders here. And then each folder that you select, if you say dbase, you now have up to like there's 69 samples in this. They're single cycles, but each one's unique and cool. Choose a new folder. Okay. Cool stuff. So that is a bonus, but don't do it the way I did it. I thought I was going to do something better, but then I realized after doing it that you want to have each of these folders limit. If you don't do it this way, I guess it doesn't limit this to be, it just goes on forever and ever and ever, because some of these have a lot of samples already. And that way you can't choose which folder you want to see, it just be scrolling. But surrounded is cool. Right? It's like Sawtooth, but it's all sorts of variations of Sawtooth in one folder. It's very, very cool, I thought. So that is something cool to play with. So there you go. That's how that works. So we've got the, John, you mentioned all future libraries will be authorized to Unify. How that work with, say, Omnisphere. Okay, so I'll just, hopefully I'm not sure that's going to work. We do have maps for the problem is that Skippy just created one more level of, I see what I did. Okay. Thank you, Shane, for explaining. Yeah. So future libraries are built in Unify where they will show up over here. Even if it's using Omnisphere, it will be that you select it here. And there'll be this really cool thing. And Unify or Omnisphere will be one of the plugins that's used inside of this plus other things. It's not a library just for Omnisphere. So then you will have the unlock with the right method here. You'll put in your license key to unlock it so you can play the library. And it will be, this is kind of the fun thing is we can be above all the plugins that we can use more than one plugin. And Unify comes with these instruments that we can use when making an Omnisphere library. So it's not just Omnisphere. And as I make new things that have more samples across the keyboard and things, if I am putting them into the Unify standard library, or else if I include them with the Omnisphere library, because we can install samples and presets and all sorts of things as a library, I can make maps now with more than 8 samples like I had to in Omnisphere. So it breaks me free from that kind of the constraints of, I mean, I did it for a while where I would like edit each patch for each sample across the keyboard, and those days are over. So it would be a plugin library that uses Omnisphere inside of it will be a Unify library, but it will be for people that own Omnisphere, because you have to own whatever plugin you make a library for. So that's the direction for that. Can I map a map grow to these different saw waveforms in the folder? Not yet. You will be able to, and we'll be able to modulate those and do all sorts of things in the future because we have crazy dreams and plans. But remember, we are 5 days old at this point. This is a 5 days since it was released plugin, and we are thrilled with our capabilities, but there's a lot of room for new things to be added, right? So let's get into what I wanted to talk about. And then at the end of this, I've also got Audio Damage's new Continua. I'll give you a quick first look at. It's a nice synthesizer. It's got some kind of cool things. I wish it would have implemented more cool things, but synthesizers are synthesizers. And so people are kind of like repeating the same. It's like rinse and repeat. Here's a modulation to change the waveform shape. Here's your filter. Here, you know, it's like, I'm looking forward to bringing out things you guys haven't seen before. And sounds, Shane and I are both like, we want to get this done so we can start exploring. There's all sorts of cool forms of synthesis and so forth that we've talked about. So let's do this. Let's initialize. Let's go back to synth, back to our hymnal. I am sorry for that little 30-minute tangent. I'm sorry. I tend to do that sometimes. I see questions and jump on them. I'm not gonna do that. We're gonna now go into focused. This is education land, okay? Okay, so we have our mouse pluck starter that we made in a live stream. I think we made this in the last live stream of 2019. Okay, so we are going to pop open the MIDI effect layer. And I'm going to show you some of the things built into Unify to start with. And then we're going to go crazy with Cthulhu. Because Cthulhu kind of does a marrying and a couple things I'm going to show you in a really cool way. One of the new effects that we actually haven't even used much is down here under utilities, the chorders, the ripcord player. And I'm going to actually show you the full ripcord. Oh, I don't have it. Let's see. Oh, I have it installed, so I need to go over here. I'm going to have it. Oh, actually, I could do it this way, I think. So let's go here. Let's show you in action. This is in action. So I'm going to go over here to my VST folder, and I'm going to go ripcord. Rip. Because I installed it, I know. Where is it? Oh, come on, ripcord. I installed it. I know I installed it. So this is interesting. So if I go here to downloads. Oh, it's a VST3. Okay, that's why I'm not seeing it. Okay. So let's go to VST3 to the ripcord right here. If I go over here, I'm on the known plugins. I'm going to drag ripcord over. And I think it was already installed. I think it's a matter of my subset for MIDI effects. For all my MIDI effects, I need to go ripcord. And there it is, ripcord. I had, oh, it's there. It's there. So why wasn't it showing up? I was over here saying all my MIDI effects. There. So ripcord is a free, you can actually, if we open up the ripcord player, it will pop me to their website. This is a very cool, if we go over here to ripcord, this is a free online utility. You can actually download different ripcords. You can play them from here where it's playing chords. So if I go over here and I call this up, let's just call it up as ripcord first. This is the one that's not installed in Unify. This is the full version. And I've installed some presets. So if I go over here to presets, I can say, I want to be your lover. And then, okay, so it's not playing, right? That's because even though I have ripcord, both of these are currently just set to raw MIDI. So I need to go over here and change this. Let's call this ripcord so I know what's going on. And now when I say ripcord, boom, boom, I've connected those and now, and it's an octave too low. So let's hold down option. Actually, let's go, I think 2 octaves. Nope. 1 octave. Oh, M1, wait. Oh, did I mess up something? Why is it doing it off on semitone? That is so strange. It's supposed to be not doing that. Well, anyway, they also have the ripcord player that we have built in. Let's see if we open up the file, we can go over here to where I put these. I put these into downloads. Ripcord presets. So I could say, want to be your lover. Right? So we have, it doesn't have the cool keyboard that the ripcord player does. Why is it the ripcord player is doing it right? Let me see something. Built in. Ripcord. Call up. There's something weird going on when maybe it. Yeah, see, I'm not going crazy. There's something with ripcord inside of Unify that we got to figure out because it's not supposed to do that. But if I go here, right? So you can make these chords and then have them work in such a way that besides this, you can hit plus, go to MIDI Effects, add a blue ARP. Let's go here to the presets, go to something chorded and a. So this first is playing the chords and then I'm playing notes. And then I can call up different blue art presets to play. Right? And so I have all sorts of different things. We could have your song, Elton John. So you can use these chords. If you want to use these, you have to go to the ripcord. It's trackabout.com/presets, and you have to log in and become a user and sign in and all that kind of stuff. But then when you get to any of these, you can just hit download to download these presets that give you these different. They have a little MIDI file player playing. So once you have that in place, we have two MIDI effects happening in one MIDI effect, and we have them talking to two synthesizers, and it's done so easily that to do this like this is impossible in any other DAW that I can think of. I can't think of any other where you could have a chord player and a MIDI effect arpeggiator happening. And then I could say, add myself another MIDI effect, and let's just have this one be an arpeggiator pattern. So let's go down here and say just like some sort of cool little techno. And let's do this. Let's say add an empty layer. Let's have this be the Guru sampler. We're going to go over here and hook it up to the ARP Techno. Oh, you know what? This is where it gets where it doesn't work necessarily because these chords are not based on the notes you play on your keyboard. So if I play a note, right, it's not going to, that's not going to be the desired effect. So this is where Cthulhu starts to get where it makes a lot more sense because it ties the chords and everything to where you can program it really. I like how Cthulhu works so much better, but this is definitely an option to work with if you're working on a song. So many of you guys working on songs, you're using loops and it's just something that fits the mix and you don't care what notes it are. So you like transpose the notes to find the note that works for what you want to do. There's all sorts of ways of working with that. But let's do this. So that's one way of working. And I can show you there's, like I did an example patch here. Limitless 2 is just Cthulhu. Did I do one? This is the ripcord for Elton John. Right? So you can do. And if you wanted to, let's see, we could mute this. And we could mute this and go like this and have, there we go. We got a cool groove going, and then get, so you can do cool stuff. So it's super fun to work this way with the ripcord player, playing various presets. This is using just the little simple player that we have built into Unify. And I've got all these different presets, so I could say I want to be your lover, and now it's So this is one of those where you'd also want to have maybe let's have fun for a minute. So let's say we add one more MIDI effect, we add one more synth layer. Let's say we do, let's do something fun with like analog. Let's use jump, because it's just your super bright. And let's route by going over here and saying to MIDI effect 2. Let's have this be also that same ripcord player, and let's have it play the same preset. So I want to be your lover. And it needs to be an octave higher. Hold down Option to drag the transpose up an octave, and turn down the auxiliary bus. And we can get some resonance. Let's get some retro thing going on here. Oh, it's doing pitch too. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And we need, instead of a piano, we need strings to be like all like a disco thing. So it's changed instead of keyboard. Let's go to Make a Magic Violin to something like the Power Ensemble. And it's the wrong octave, so we need to transpose it up an octave. Let's do this. This needs to be a lot softer. Anyway, you can do it, and that's just using the built-in tools inside of Unify. If you go back to Elton John and say revert, but we want to get crazy. Are you ready to get crazy? This is where we're going with you, with when you get Cthulhu into it. It's just, that's one note doing everything you're hearing. So Annette, let me see what the chat's saying. I've kind of not followed chat for a minute, so I want to make sure that I'm good night. Oh, people are leaving. Bye, JX. And you good. Okay, good. You guys are soaking this all up. Okay, so Cthulhu marries ripcord player and the blue arp together and put them on massive steroids and does some crazy things. We want to go back to our standard library to synth. Let's get our mouse starter again, because that's just got a nice plucky, easy to work with. Add one MIDI effect. Let me give you a quick rundown of Cthulhu. Cthulhu is a $39 sequencer and chord. It's an arpeggiator and a chord memorizer from Steve Duda at Extra Records. And let's go over here. Let's go to the MIDI in and route. And I'm going to do this. It's based on velocity. You can hear a little bit. So I'm going to go in. Okay. So it has the ability, it has a default chord right here. And you could so it could do arpeggiators based on simple things like this. Or you could set it to where if you wanted, you hit learn. Say I don't want it to be a minor chord, I want it to be these notes. Boom, done. Everything else is like this. D, let's say for D, I want it to be so it's a chord memorizer for the chords, and then up here is the arpeggiator telling it what to do with the notes. And here it's straight arpeggiated, here it's chords where it's... We can go over here, there's a really nice preset called chords to chords. So now it's just playing simple chords, right? Then you have all sorts of crazy additional parameters along the way here, including gate. So you can do variations with the duration. You can make certain notes late. So everything doesn't have to be perfect timing if you don't want it. You have harmony, so I mean, that's a techno trance right there. Boom. Let's see if we come over here and have, let's do this. Let's get rid of the, so already right there alone, just by playing with it a little bit, it can get just beautifully beautiful. Yeah, Shane, we'll need to definitely work on having stuff from second level. Listen to like whether the sustain pedal works or not, because you want to be able to be here and start and stop. We've got it so that one level you can be working and the sequencer start and stops with your DAW. But when we get to 2 levels up, it's currently not ignoring sustain or space and stuff like that. So we'll definitely want to do that so that we can have the sequencer start and stop while working in something like Cthulhu. Now, it can get, oh, this is one of those things that happens sometimes. Oh shoot. So that's one thing you can do with Cthulhu. Let me do this really fast. Boom, boom, up an octave. Cthulhu. The other place where Cthulhu gets really interesting is that you can load in presets. So instead of doing this chord set, you can go down here. I've bought a couple of these, like ESW is what, Eastern Soundworks or something like that. And go to Art Presets to start with, let's say chords. Each note now is recorded. This is where the Cthulhu presets that people are selling. Look for the ones that have chords. I also bought the Chord Gods 2, which is a bunch of art patterns, and I'm not that impressed. These are like, you could just randomly click around and they're all about the same. So I would, using this is, and if you want, you can turn off the ARP, or you could turn off the chords and just use the ARP. Now just, And one thing that's cool is they have a hold. We can do better than that. If you go over here and you say add MIDI effects built-in MIDI filter, we can have it emulate sustain and then put this before Cthulhu. And now when you hold on your sustain pedal, and when you take your fingers off, it stops. So whereas Cthulhu has, you can have it on hold and now it forever holds until you click to unhold it. We can put a sustain pedal filter to emulate sustain. And it stops when I use my sustain pedal to stop it. So there's all sorts of places where we are far superior than just a plugin by itself. We help plugins play better for you. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, so let me show you some other stuff here that's really cool, because once you get into this stuff in these chords, are you ready for something really crazy? This has the ability, on top of all sorts of cool scaling and transposing and shifting notes, and it has the ability to have like 12 different, we could go over here to B and C. Right? I wonder if I could get that to show up. Is that a modulation source inside of here yet? Let's see. This will be interesting. So if we go here to MIDI Effects, to Cthulhu, we have pattern. Okay, so I think we'd be able to modulate the pattern with a knob. Cool. And the ARP on. So these are the parameters we can modulate inside of Cthulhu, including MIDI latch, which we don't need to because we have our filtering for sustain already. But you have these parameters you could map to these knobs, so you could move a knob to cycle through these patterns like I'm doing here. Let's try that. Let's see if I go over here and I say on knob 2, go to Cthulhu to pattern. Okay, so now, yes! So that means I could let's do this. Let's erase what I had sequence and okay, now if I quantize that my silly note plays, because Logic. There. So cool, man. So that's okay. Let me show you one more thing with Cthulhu that's just a complete mind blower. That right there is pretty sweet. So watch here. Let's have it play. And we should see. Yeah, it's cycling through all these different patterns. So then you could go over here, you could add delays, and let's do it as an auxiliary bus that does both. So, good grief, good grief. What have we done, Shane? So this is the dirty delay. Only, yeah, there's some situation here. We'll fix this. PG8X is not listening to note offs. We'll fix that. I love PG8X, but it's not following by the rules. Let's go to Guru Sampler. Let's use one of those new spiffy waveforms that we just downloaded from Skippy. Let's go to Raw. And let's warm it up like it's going through unison without burning up a whole bunch of notes by going here to our really cool silky chorus. Now, on top of this, I was going to show you one more thing that's crazy, right? Well, let's get back to it. Under menu, see this right here? This is import MIDI file. And this is insane. My daughter is sending me notes from Mexico. I'll have to reply to her in a minute. But importing a MIDI file allows you to import, it's got to be a type 0. I'll show you an example. Typically, when you drag over a MIDI file, it gives you a whole lot of different MIDI channels of data. Like if you go here to downloads, MIDI files from the net. So I'm going to like, here's a Brandenburg concerto. So I drag it over. Oh, I got to drag it up here. Sorry. Go up here. If I drag this and I say start at MIDI channel 1, or let's say we'll have it start at 9 to be safe. It will create a multi-channel crazy thing, right? And tries to call up. And you might go, how in the world could you use that? Well, let's do this. Let me get rid of that one because I would be curious about how to use that one too. It's not that great, but I'm going to load up. I think the Cinephona was good. Let's say right in there. I'll show you. We'll do that with this one. So 18. Oh, wait. 18. Command T to chop it. So 19. Let's say right there. Okay. So listen to this closely. Hear those chords right in there. Da, da, da. So you command J to join that into one monstrous. And I just got this off the internet. It's one of these Bach. This is the Cinephona 8. I think it was in some key. Go under your and say export selection as a MIDI file. And let's call this Cinephone 8. Desktop save. So I have made a MIDI file from that, right? So I'm going to go back here to my happy little Transy Cthulhu thing. And because I've made it a MIDI file, and I know that that's a type 1 MIDI file because that's what it spit out, I can go over here to import MIDI file, drag this over and say import this. It took every timing event and whatever chord was played at that time and made it into a chord sequence. So you can use 3 notes. And find something cool to play. To show you some other examples, I did some other MIDI files. If we were to go to, oh, you're going to be like that. Okay, so cancel. Let me bring this over here and say import MIDI file until I find where I want to go. And go over here to that folder to MIDI files from the net. And oh, can I move you now? I can't move you until I load you. Okay, so This is... This is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. So if we turn off the ARP, and let's maybe mute our bright synth waveform for... So you can import chords from all sorts of genres of music. Classical, pop. And find new chords with Cthulhu. It's just really, really crazy what you can do with this. And like I think I showed you, on top of all that, you could say initialize and have it be totally initialized. Play C, say I want to learn. As long as I'm holding down a note. Oh. I don't want that one. I want... Okay. And it automatically will move to the next one, but I go, no, I want to go to D, and I want to learn. And then I want to turn it off and go to E, and I want E to be... I'm not even playing E, this is going to be a G chord. And then for the next one, that's fine, because... So I've made my own chords. Oh wait, turn off learn. So you can burn your own chords so quickly to make your own cool chord progressions with your favorite types of chords. And then go to the ARP, and there's all these parameters to do all sorts of... You know how Spectrasonics has the inversion and stuff like that? Well, here it has inversions to like 8. So this is taking the concepts of what Omnisphere is doing arpeggiator-wise and taking it to a completely more complex... Ow. Let's take that down an octave. So for this to work, I need to... There. A lot of times it's cool to have a really warm synth sound and then find something kind of rude and just put it in there. Oh, I need to get down here to like this. So you can see what we can do. So that's the power. I mean, we're just touching the surface, because once you start getting where you have more MIDI effects, let's have another MIDI effect. Let's have it do a blue ARP. So we go to our standard arpeggiator, and let's have this routed to a third instrument, and let's have it be OBXD, doing something kind of snappy, like a, let's say just a cool D-tune, kind of snappy D-tune. And turn off our auxiliary buses for the moment. And let's route this to MIDI Effect 2. And then go over here and find a cool preset. Go here. Let's take that, and then let's have Cthulhu play along. But I'm going to turn off chords. And I could go over here and put some rests in so that this was actually doing more like a resting kind of a thing for us. And you got to have your sequencer playing for everybody to stay in sync. So let's mute the drums so we don't have drums just playing. But with that playing, now it's in sync. I need to know where one is. 2, 3, 2. And it might sound like it's getting out, but once you quantize it, because I'm playing just real time, right? It just 2, 3, 4. Quantize it. Super tight. And then we can go down here. Let's add a pump house to do a little bit of a global. This is kind of one of the things you have to do in the 2010 era. Open this up, go to load. We have saved, I've made all of these different side chains. So you can choose, let's see, let's do it by name so it makes a little bit more sense. This is like your most standard side chain. Then bring it down just a little bit so it's not full strength, because that's not right. That sounds good. Again, now we have to go back. And then I could go to this last guy. And it's a bass sound or something, right? So that is MIDI effects, and the power of MIDI effects is crazy. And the fact that you can stack, if we wanted to, we could go to this guy right here that's playing. Oh wait, let's get back up here to. We could have a blue arp at the end of this if we wanted to. To do the arpeggiator patterns or numerology or all these other ones. You can stack, that's 3 MIDI effects in 1 MIDI effect. And I could add more, as you can see. I could say after this, I wanted to add the ripcord player, and it would let me add, I want to be your lover. Let's see if I come over here and say ripcord presets. While my guitar gently. So there's all sorts of experimenting. That one didn't work out so well, but delete that. Plug in. So that's the power, is that we don't put a limitation on the MIDI effects, even in a single MIDI effect slot. It's like insert effects. They are unlimited in what you can do. So there's all sorts of cool routing tricks you could do, like a modular synthesizer with 1 MIDI effect and have it talk to however many of these instruments as you want. Super flexible to play with that way. That's what we love. Let me see if there's any questions. I've been like totally ignoring the chat some. Copy that. It runs fine in main stage 3. It needs another. Can you show numerology working? Not in this one. I need to, like, I have numerology and I've worked with it, and that is a very, very deep problem. Oh, somebody's talking about the yeah, so a lot of people still talking about scanning. Let me make it really clear as a reminder to lovely new people that have shown up. If you hit this little plugin button right here, you can navigate to your plugin folder. And instead of using that scanner, which is software we did not write, that we are trying our best to make it work better than it is, You can take any plugins like this and drag them over here and say boom, and that will scan them into Unify. You don't have to use this scanner. This is an option to do everything at once. And for some of you guys, you have a plugin that the plugin scanner from Juice, it's not our scanner, it hangs up. And it's something we're working to fix. We have a system in place where if I get to the end of my list, it's made a blacklist, right? These are blacklisted files that it's supposed to skip when it scans so it doesn't hang up. And for some of you guys, for some reason, certain effects are being ignored and bypassed from what we've tried to put in place for Band-Aids. So Shane is going to keep working on it clearly to do more things. So yeah, we're going to look at Continua now. But I just want to make clear that is, we're sorry for that problem. It's somebody else's code that we're working with and we're trying to make it better. Okay, again, you can go to any plugin format, go to the plugin window, drag the files directly here, and they will be installed into Unify and work. We're bypassing the scanner when we do it that way, okay? So there is a new synthesizer. I don't think I need to show it inside of Unify, so we'll go down here to this track. It's from Audio Damage Incorporated called Continua. Continua. Sounds like a Japanese thing. Anoa. Otsukare-sama desu ne. And Continua. So, this is a synthesizer that is a 3 oscillator with a continually variable kind of wavetable, but computation based, 2 filters, 2 ADSRs, and they've got FEG, which is their idea, I believe. Syncing, it's got different types of looping modes that you can choose how it's going to loop. You can double click to add additional segments to it, it looks like, which is nice. It also has a second page where they have macros, and then they have chorus, delay, reverb, and it's $79 on sale, $99 retail. The artists include Glitch Machines, Red Means Recording, Red Sky Lullaby. These guys all made interesting patches. And why aren't you playing? Oh, I'm on the wrong track. Let me show you factory patches because the patches artists made, they did not finalize. Shame on them. But these are finalized. They typically sound better. They have macro control for at least 2 knobs on that one. This is a synth that if a synth was screaming for a sub-oscillator, this is one of those that I would think would really have benefited, because the low end, whatever their synthesis they're doing, the other thing that's like a shock to me, a true shock, is here is a synthesizer where there is no button to advance from one patch to a next. You have to open the presets, you have to double click. There's no buttons to advance through the patches. So, I mean, I have no, you guys can all make your synthesizers the way that you want, but if you delete useful things that make it easy for the user to actually use your instruments, you'll find more success, I think. Because it's just a shock to me that, you know, with all these things that they have going on, they don't have plus and minus buttons to change patches. Yeah, Derek, I will show you that in just 1 second. One of the guys having the looping scan issues. Really looking forward to the fix. Yeah, guys, we're sorry about the scanning in Unify. It's one of those things where it's 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 code that we inherited when we decided to work in the Juice platform. That's their scanner. And if Shane would have taken the time to make a scanner from scratch, but we decided not to do that at the start, we might do that at some point, but it's a big undertaking. But we're trying to find ways to at least make it so you can hit skip, so you can skip the plugins that freeze you, that you can't get past. And also, I would love to have it so it shows you what the current plugin is that's currently crashing. There's a place deep in your computer I could show you where it will tell you that, but we want it to show you that inside of the actual scanning mechanism to do that kind of stuff. So there's basses, there's keys. Right? They have some interesting things here with FM, noise, and drive on different oscillators. So you can use this to have like kind of a variable. They also have, let's see, I don't know if there's an init button to work with. They've got modulation, downsampling, aftertouch smoothing, MPE mode, which is cool. So you can do multi-performance for if you're using your Rolly type of keyboards and stuff like that. Yeah. I don't think they have do they have an init? Let's see here, user. Oh, that's your default. Oh, boy. Pads are nice. It does take up a fairly decent amount of CPU power. If you want to compare, this almost isn't fair, but if you go to Unify to all of the pads we have down here, you know, we're not anywhere killing. So someone was asking about setting up the machine jam. So for that, you would want to use the controller editor, controller editor. And this gives you access to setting up. If you double click, you can go over here to position and what controller change you want it to be, as you can see. So you can set them up this way. And then when you have basically these lights above in the jam to choose between 8 different sets of these. So this is for setting up this set. I can't remember exactly how you would go about for templates, for pages. Oh, here we go, for the pages. So we're down here, touch page A, B, C, D. See how the controllers change for each one of these? So you can set them up so that if I have my, in fact, here's my jam. As I change this little light changes so you can see C, D, E, F, G, H. So when I'm here and I move 1, watch right here. This will show MIDI CC 1, 2, 4, 67. That's how we have it set up. And so once you're set with that, all you have to do is go to your knobs and right click and say learn. Oh, it got something else it's not supposed to. So learn. Well, no, this is why we also have assign CC. So I can just go like this and say 1. It's getting CCs from something else that's here working. So you can set all your knobs now work with your jam. So I can move these And that way I can get to the big airwave things that are doing, or else other groove things that are doing crazy things. And if I go to, yeah, so we go here. This is why you like to have something with faders versus knobs. A lot of you guys have things with knobs, but faders are the way to go. And this is why. Here's From Berlin with Love. We're 120. Have this playing, but let's mute all these guys so I can play a note. And then I can go up here and I can play live. I can break it down. And I could say I want to learn MIDI CC to this. So I can. So you can do live jam stuff like this. And it's so fun because they're faders, so you just move them, you leave them, and it stays there. But I can move all of them at once. And trying to do that online or with something that has knobs, if you get really talented, you can get knobs to go that way, but faders are so nice for that kind of thing. Right? So the faders and the jam just works perfectly for this kind of thing. It also has all these buttons up here, which you can actually program them to play chords and notes. So you can do a complete song using just this and the faders and not using a keyboard if you're a button pusher kind of a musician, which is, it's a thing now. Does this program have input quantize? No, it doesn't at this point, but it follows your song. What we do, we have two methods of triggering on this page. You have MIDI quick stop, which means that it starts when you play a note and says that's one, which it doesn't work as smoothly with your sequencer and your DAWs as manual start and stop. So now it's tracking the speed of your song. This is coarse kind of, we got it working, but we will refine this part of it. If you own Unify and you send email to support at, oh, actually it's Unify support at pluginguru.com and say, I'm doing stuff and I need it to do this, and explain to us what it's doing or what you need it to do that it's currently not able to do, that will help us know what features are important to you guys, right? We'll probably do a survey at some point and stuff like this. Can I use Chord Karma with Karma System in Unify? I believe you can send Karma out MIDI, so you should be able to trigger the parts with using Karma. I believe so. It would be a little, you'd have to set it up a certain way, Ivar. It would take a bit of work. For the macros, could we add like a steps mode doctor example in Cthulhu? You could step through patterns more deliberately with pads. Oh, you mean like resolution of the ranges? That'd be a good idea for something to add in the future. Before faders, we had big round knobs and extra hands. Yeah. I've been in studios in the 80s working on records in the 90s where there's 3 people controlling faders at one time to get something to work, you know? So yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so let me summarize what we've talked about today. I want to first thank all of you for joining us. It's been a really healthy live stream. I'm so happy to see as many people here. Hopefully I didn't ignore you too much. But The first thing is the scanning issue with Unify. Please remember you can open up, if you go to your computer, let's get to the top level. If you're on your Macintosh, at the very top on the PC, you have different places you can put plugins. So you probably know where they are. Go to Library, Audio, Plugins, and Components. Those are your audio units. If I wanted to have a couple audio units, let's say I wanted to have, let's say I want to have Anna 2 in here. So I just say drag, and it added it. So now I have both the audio unit and the VST version, which means when I go to this list, if I initialize my huge thing here and I go to the list of all instruments, and what company does that? Oh, jeez, I forgot for a second there. So I need to Sonic Academy. So you would go over here to Sonic Academy, and you'll see that it says Anna 2 and there's VST and audio unit. And I can say audio unit and it should load. All right, and go, no, today I'm feeling like playing with VSTs. So I could go down here to Sonic Academy and load the VST version. Same thing. So I just loaded a VST and an audio unit of the same plugin. And Unify goes, okay, no problem. Easy to go. So that's the way to bypass the scanner if it's giving you hangups. Secondly, there's this file of samples called the Unify. It's the Adventure Kid waveforms. I will provide the link one more time at the end of this chat. I put it way early in the chat, but if you're watching this point, let me give you the link. This is 4,400 single cycle waveforms formatted for Unify. So let's see here. If we go copy this and go to the chat, and if you want, there's a website you can go to download these, right? Hopefully that's the right link. I didn't mess up, did I? That's the library. It will download originally as a .guru file. And if you want, like here, see if you .guru, say, yep. So now it's a .guru file. .guru file is the same as a zip file, except Unify knows when it sees a .guru file that it can, oh, wait, see, did I mess up? Oh, I might have messed up my formatting of it. Let's see if I can delete that and get the original back. It's formatted in a special way so that if you drag it over here, I can say yes, and it will automatically install it. Or you can extract it. If you change the end of the name to .zip, it's now a zip file. Okay. And you say use zip, and now you can open it up, and it opens up a user library folder, which has the samples in it. Okay. There it is. And inside of it will be samples, and they're all in Guru sound document format. So they're all ready to work inside of Unify. They won't work anywhere else. You can search for AKWF and find them on the internet. If you want the wave files for Serum or for something else, they are there. Also, I would suggest, if you can, to go to his to the AKWF website. I have a link. I'm going to put another link up, some other place where I have support. Find that, and he has a donation. Please donate a little to him and say thank you. Say I'm using them in Unify and they're great, you know, if you want, because that's a lot of work he did. Okay. All right. So we still have tech support. Shane is going crazy. Do I have to leave the offline page? Bob, I'll email you a reply as soon as I get your email. Having a latch with a timer would be cool. What do you mean by that? J-Min Z. How would you use a latch with a timer? So it only latch for a certain time? Please explain. Yes, we will be at the NAMM show next week, Wednesday or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Fingers crossed. I have to drive down there on Tuesday. But we will be at the Ilio booth, which is the booth where Synthagy with Ivory pianos, AAS with the awesome physical model stuff they do, Overloud, Spectrasonics is there as well. So it's going to be a hop-in booth. We're all, except for one group is they're doing guitar effects and they have demos with speakers, but everybody else is with headphones this year, which will be different. Yes. Yeah, we will definitely be adding things like glide, portamento, mono, legato is a big one for me that I want inside a Guru sampler. We had our list and we cut it off and said, this is what we want for 1.0, and then this is what we want to add later. So there's all sorts of features like glide and mono legato and stuff like that that we'll be adding. Yeah, it would latch for a certain time. Interesting. Okay, thank you, Jamin. I'm not sure, we have, so you can apply a latch to anything using a MIDI effect and then use a sustain pedal. And maybe we could make it so another controller or a knob or something could be doing that. It's just hard to, or maybe we could say, I don't know, make some, that's a whole different thing. Like for 8 measures, something that follows clock would make sense. But just to say for 30 seconds would not be what I don't think would work. I only have a few VSTs, I'm sure being one, and Unify is still worth getting. Oh, is Unify still worth getting? You only have a few VSTs. Yes, it's absolutely worth getting. Let me show you why. Let's add an instrument layer and let's have Omnisphere. So we go down here to Spectrasonics, Omnisphere. And I love Omnisphere. I have made something like 40 libraries for Omnisphere. If you guys need Omnisphere patches, please go to pluginguru.com. And there's all sorts of really fun libraries. Here they are. Boom. We could go to Omniverse, let's say, which is a library I did that has all sorts of cool stuff in it. We could go to a nice pad. Let's do this. Let's solo. So we just hear Omnisphere to start. Okay. Now let's go over here. And instead of Anna, let's go over here and let's use the Guru sampler. And we're going to go over here to Creaturesque. And in this library for Creaturesque, which is a library, the full version you could buy for Unify or for Omnisphere, not for Unify yet. One thing the singer, this dear friend of mine named Kathy Talbot, she did all of these Latin songs, phrases. And she originally sang da ba da ba da 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 bum, and then I used Melodyne and got rid of the melody, so it's just the note. So I could layer that with Omnisphere. And then I could say, oh, I wanted to add another layer, and let's add something from DX, which is a DX7 synthesizer. Let's add like a cool keyboard. And I want this sound to go through its own reverb, so let's go down here to the water verb. So Omnisphere is in here. But it's being collaborated with now. Unify is about combining things. So I could create this really cool combination. And let's double click to make this. And then I want the whole thing to go through an empty auxiliary bus that has Shimmer Verb from Valhalla. So let's sell it. Ready? So Shimmer. And let's say mix 100%. Give me some feedback. Right? And then I could come over here and I could say save and save this. So I could say Omni Unify Heaven. Heavn. And I'm going to save this into the new library. Oh, wait. I just want to save it into the user library. And I'll just save it quick. So I'll say just save. So now in my user library, I have these things with Cthulhu and push a button and we load faster than I think Omnisphere can load patches. Oh, I need to, let's see, did I? Sorry about that. Oh, there is this. I have to talk to Shane about. There's a thing with right here's our rebuild patch database, and sometimes if I option click it, if apparently in here this user library, yeah, this file is it loading? Okay, it's gonna load. No, there's something wrong. So if I hit rebuild that patch database for some reason, sometimes it gets confused and it will crash. But Omnisphere Unify Heaven. Now, the first time you run it, it takes it maybe a second, but yeah, I have much respect for my dear brother Eric and everybody that makes synthesizers. I just wanted to find something. I've always dreamed about this plugin. This is the plugin everybody dreams about. To be able to let all of your plugins play together. I could go over to Reason and I could play with Reason's stuff. Or you can go to Arturian, they've got their little factory thing for their thing. But there's really not been a place where all of your plugins could work together and you could let them just be together. That's FM synthesis, my own sample, Omnisphere with a patch from a library I made with Valhalla Shimmer, all in one simple to use patch that I can just call up in the middle of a church service when I need to get to. And you know, the thing that I'm really proud with, there's other multi-plugin hosts in the market, and they're great. I have never loaded one. I've never played with one because I didn't want anything to really color what I wanted this to be. And so this is 100% between Shane and myself and our vision. And we have 4 different pianos. We have all the strings. There's 400 patches that work in Unify before you add any plugins. So I know the plugin scanning has been a challenge for a lot of people, but the thing that's cool, everybody's calling this up and playing. And then they get into the trouble trying to scan their plugins. But I could take this and I could easily say, add me in layer. And I could say, I want it to be Omnisphere. And you know, I love Omnisphere. Omnisphere has been very good and paid my bills for a lot of years and really helped me get to where I could do this and go to this next step. But I'm going to be flying my own airplane now. You know, this is a chance to do something new and different that I've wanted to do for a long time. But here's Unify and an Omnisphere together. And this is too loud, and I think it needs to go up an octave, so we'll just... Unfortunately, Omnisphere is just, it requires a lot of CPU. So in cases like this, I'd be like, I might use something other than Omnisphere because it's pooping out. You know, it's a CPU heavy plugin. A lot of the plugins that are CPU heavy, they are what they are. So people can keep going in that direction if they want. I was really happy that we were able to work in a direction towards something where we can call up these things that are calling up, you know, quite a few patches in some cases here. Let me see, find one of these. Like, this is like 4 patches. And the CPU hit for this playing 4 different synthesizers. I can't choke the processor with this patch. It's impossible. And I could go to Omnisphere and I could play 5 notes. You could play a couple notes and choke your... So we were able to optimize this in some really cool ways that I'm really proud about. Okay? But I have nothing but positive things to say with all plugins. It's just that here's a place they can all play. You can say, I want FM synthesis, and I want Omnisphere, and I want Anna 2, and I want Serum, and I've got 5 computers to play it. But you know what I mean? That's where we're at. So I'm gonna go. This one a little bit. I usually do like an hour and a half, but I'm happy to stay longer and answer questions if you want. Thank you all. Yeah, 400 PC works. Right on, Jazz. If you got the right PC, right? Yeah, you're right, David. Often the simple basic sounds work in music with multi-parts. That's why a lot of these patches are, you know, some are complex. Oh, this is one where up top is rain, using the latch feature so you can... Right? And if you want this to be a different environmental sound, you could also do drones really easy, where it's down low playing a big drone. This is a, we have this set. This is the mono drone, which is really cool, because that means you could set up and play different notes, and each time you play a note, it stops the previous latch and starts the new latch. So if I wanted to, just for fun, I'm gonna take the bottom note of the piano and have it be G. So I'm gonna just right click on both of those, and then the top note of, I want this one here to go all the way to the bottom, and then F sharp to be where the top note is. And then instead of a sample, and instead of being unpitched, let's say pitched. And Science of Life is good, but let's go to one of these cool synth sounds like these guys. And then let's transpose it up. How's that? A little ominous. And let's move the sample start later. Okay, so I have this nice drone. So I can turn on this latch mode again, and it will play there. Play a new note. And you've got this really cool drone system. Save this as a patch. If you want, you could use Omnisphere and have it play a drone and then play other. The other thing that's cool with this is each layer is its own separate processor thread. So you could have one omnisphere here playing a drone, have another omnisphere playing up here on the top part, and we're using multi-core processing at that point, which omnisphere is not. So that means that this one Unify could have 8 different omnisphere playing that were each talking to a different thread on your processor, and it would be more efficient than if you were using omnisphere to do that as a single plugin, because we're using multi-thread technology for multi-cores, right? Yeah. I wanted this to be one of these things where you'd be like, oh my God, Unify's worth it just for these pianos for $59 or $79 when it goes to its retail price. And then there's 360 other sounds after the 40 pianos, right? So there's all. And to close, we have to play for a second what I really love to jam around on. That's these rock guitars. And if you don't know, that's using Klangfalter and Noisebox. Without Klangfalter and Noisebox, I have an attack, then a single sample of a Strat. Need to do a library dedicated to Jimmy. Yes. Then you add Noisebox. And this is with our own, I made my own weird wave shape. We will have modulation, my dear friends. And when we do, it's going to be beautiful. And then we have Klangfalter, and I have it set up so it's not doing reverb, it's doing a boxy guitar amp. And I can use the stretch. To get all sorts of. If you want new guitar sounds, that's just using the stretch parameter on one convolution. And then you unsolo it so you get the. And this is with single samples from Mega Magic Guitars Part 2. The guitar player is a dear friend of mine, and we will be doing sessions to make new guitars for Unify. So you could also load shreddage. Instead of this, I could go over here to Contact 5 and load shreddage or shreddage 3 and use these distortions to distort it instead of this distortion they're doing. And I think that would be pretty interesting, right? Yes. Skippy Van Halen. All right. Bye, Sonny. Good to see you. I'm out of here too. Thank you for joining us for this live stream. I don't know if I can do a live stream next Saturday. I'll be at the NAMM show, and I don't think I'm going to have the bandwidth to do a live stream during the trade show. And by Saturday, I won't have much of a voice because I'll be talking for 2 days before that. And I get Barry White voice. It's crazy. So I don't think we'll have a live stream next week, but we will when I get back. Maybe we'll do some special live stream or something like that because I want to say hi to all you guys and see how everybody's doing. But thank you again for your support. Unify is flying nicely. Let me see here. I'm curious. Okay, not yet. Okay, so we will have soon a version 1.0.3 up. It's not up yet, but we will do that so that when you get to the Plugin Guru website, you will have a new version to download. Okay? So bless you all. Thank you for your support. We will talk to you on the other side of the moon. Okay? See you. Bye.